Hi, my beautiful people. Thank you for checking out House of Imaj. I really appreciate it. And today I have another very quick and easy recipe because if you know me, I have a house full of children. I have one more on the way and I don't want to do anything that's too complicated. So this is another one of my very quick, easy recipes that I have. This is one of my go-to meals. I absolutely love it. If you love wingettes or drumettes, party wings, then you will love this recipe as well. So like I said, very simple, very easy, very quick, and one of my go-tos that I absolutely love, and I know you'll love it too.
All right, my love. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start out with clean chicken. I have washed and cleaned this chicken with a little bit of lime and vinegar, and now we have it set on some paper towels to soak up the water, which is very important. And we're going to begin seasoning it. I have started out with some salt. I like to use pink Himalayan salt. If you use iodized salt, try not to use too much. I have now followed my salt with a little bit of pepper, and I'm going to follow that with a little bit of garlic powder. Behind that, I'm going to use some onion powder. I also like to use adobo. And if you don't know what adobo is, you can find this on like your international aisle of your grocery store. Adobo, which is the seasoning that I just used, and also sazon. These are two seasonings that are very popular in Hispanic culture, and so you usually can find them by Goya or international aisle or your Spanish seasonings in your supermarket. I'm removing the paper towel because at this point I'm getting ready to add the mustard and mix everything up. So now I'm adding in just plain classic yellow mustard. Unfortunately, I don't really do too much measuring. I coat the chicken only on one side with the seasoning, and as you can see, I put healthy amounts of mustard on it, and then I just mix it all in together to incorporate the mustard and the seasoning on every part of the chicken. And now look at it. Doesn't it look so nice and golden and pretty already? So now we're going to flour it. I've actually let the seasoning and the mustard sit on the chicken for about 30 minutes. You can put it in the refrigerator if you like or not. It's completely up to you. It's not going to go bad because it has salts on it. So it'll be okay sitting on the counter for 30 minutes. I've added a half a cup of flour. I've added 3 pinches of salt, and don't worry, just because you season the meat and then you season the flour, it's not going to make it like overly seasoned. I know some people worry about that, and that's not the case. What you have to think about though is that you want your food to always be seasoned on every single layer, on every single level of cooking it, and therefore the flavor of it carries to the very end of the process, right? So we're gonna season our flour with the same exact things that we season the chicken with, all of the seasoning minus mustard, obviously. So as you can see, I just added a little bit of each, not too much because it's only a half a cup of flour. I have now mixed all the seasonings into the flour, make it sure that it's all nice and incorporated well together. And then I'm gonna give each wing just a toss in the flour. All right, I like wings that are almost like they're naked and they don't have too much of a heavy breading on them. So I'll only put these in the flour one time. And then I toss off all the excess flour and I set them aside on a little rack. Once they're completely all done being floured and on the rack, I let them sit on the rack for probably another 10 minutes to allow the flour to like really soak into the chicken before I put it into the fryer. And this is what it looks like when it's all floured and it's on the rack. Okay. And like I said, we're just going to do a little bit of a cleaning. While we're cleaning up our mess, we're also allowing our grease to get nice and hot. I have my grease on the stove at a high temperature. Okay, because as soon as I put this chicken into the oil, I want that thing to start popping and sizzling and frying up. So we're allowing our grease to get hot right now. And one way for you to test whether or not your grease is ready is to just sprinkle a little bit of flour into the oil. And if you notice that the flour is bubbling and it's frying, then you can pretty much assume that your that your oil is ready. You don't want to overcrowd your pan, but I would probably say with the amount of chicken wings that I had, I only needed to do 2 batches. So fit them in there, but don't overcrowd them in there because this is not a deep fryer. So we are going to have to turn them a bit and mix them just to make sure every side gets nice and brown, and you don't want them sticking together and stuff like that. Be more burnt on one side than it is on the other side. Don't nobody want that. We probably had our chicken cooking for, I would say, maybe about a solid 20 minutes before it's done. Okay, but in that meantime, I'm watching it. I am making sure that it hasn't been sitting on one side for too long. Okay, a good way to tell whether or not your food is done frying is that you'll notice that it doesn't look like it's frying anymore. So you notice that when you first put the chicken in the pan, it was a lot of bubbling and a lot of sizzling and a lot of frying movement going on. But after about 20 minutes, you'll notice that it starts to die down and it doesn't look like the chicken's really frying anymore. It just kind of looks like it's starting to sit in the grease. That's when you begin to know that it's pretty much done. It's cooked well done, okay? Because it's still moisture that's left within the chicken that causes it to do all of this sizzling and popping. So as the moisture is drying up and leaving the chicken, that's more of a clue that your chicken is well done and it's ready to be taken out of the grease. So right now I'm just tossing it, I'm turning it, I'm making sure that nothing's sticking, I'm making sure that it's getting nice and golden brown on all sides and not burnt. And this is what you do. And like I said, it's gonna be a process and take about 20-25 minutes for extra well done wings. All right, so if you notice what I was talking about, the frying has decreased. It's not as bubbly as it was prior. Now it's a little bit of bubbling, and it's kind of looking like it's just sitting here in the oil, just floating around in the oil. Now it's about time for us to start removing the chicken from the grease. Another thing that I also like to do is I also like to taste things prior. So let's say you're kind of new to cooking. This is your first time actually trying to fry something with a bone, because you know a meat with a bone fries differently than meat without a bone. Okay, say this is like your first time trying to do that. The best thing that I would say to do is just to fry one wing first. After you can season just a couple of them, season them, and fry them up and taste test them. And if you like them and you think they're delicious, then you season the rest of the chicken the way you did, the few that you fried, and you go ahead and you fry everything else up. But that's what I do. I like to taste things first and sample it prior to making a whole batch of something. And so this is the final product, and as you can see, they're nice and golden. They are cooked all the way through. These are the perfect party wings, okay? They do not take long to cook up. If you have a deep fryer, that's even perfect, because you can make a larger batch at one time. But these are delicious and they are a must try.